Shalom, shalom, everybody. It's good to be back. Missed a week there, but it's been kind of really hectic. A lot of stuff going on. Still trying to do a lot of work uh, um, on these classes for y'all. But first of all, before we even start, as always, giving all esteem to the Father, Yahuwah, for his mercy, grace, giving us understanding and wisdom. We appreciate that from the Father, because without that, we cannot learn how to obtain salvation. We thank him for his love gift, Yahusha HaMashiach. We thank him for wisdom, which is our teacher, Ruach HaKodesh, her loving kindness, guidance, teaching us patience, and just being able to open our eyes to see what's going on. I mean, this thing is getting clearer and clearer. I was talking with a guy the other day, talking about reparations, but my thing is, where your reparations at? These Chinese people been beat up for about a month. They done passed this Corona bill. You touch one of them, you go into prison. But they steady shooting and killing you. But we just can't seem to understand what's going on. We know it's the Father. We got to return back to the Father. And I was talking to some young guys, and they saying, "Well, y'all old people, y'all used to lay down. We ain't laying down no more." I said, "Yeah, I know, but you are laying down. You might fight them, but you still laying down. What you mean? And you ended up in a casket. You eating dirt." So it just is what it is, and we got a quick hit we're gonna put together on that. That's gonna be coming up in a couple of days. So um, just want y'all to know that. Hopefully, y'all would get a lot of information out of it, and start showing that video to these young folks. I mean, everybody that comes up here, they know somebody that's young. Shoot it to them so they can see. And you never know who is listening. I'm working with a young guy now. I mean, this brother had a lot of information. He just didn't know how to tie everything together. So I'm gonna show him how to tie it together. Hopefully, he'll come on in and you know decide to go into a covenant with Yahuwah and save himself. But in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and get started with this. This is a really important topic. I spent a lot of time on this lesson, so I'm hoping that y'all get something out of this. I'm hoping you do. All right, let's get up here. Okay, the name of this class, of course, is called the Torah or Grace. And this is a big subject. This subject here has a lot of people. I mean, it's a big stumbling block for a lot of people, especially our people, because we've been taught with this dispensationalism of grace for so long. And this is a major stumbling block and a major stronghold because we just can't seem to get past this. For some reason, in our minds, we just feel like, this is, well, I'm under grace. You hear that all the time. And I'm a Christian. I don't need to do that. I'm a Christian. I'm under grace because Christ paid it all. So then what are you supposed to be doing? Don't you have something you think you need to be doing? Anyway, we're going to get started with this class. So Torah versus grace, friends or enemies. All right, we need to find out if they walk together or they're contrary to each other, as we've been taught, right? Now, to whom shall I speak and give warning so that they hear? See, their ears is uncircumcised and they are unable to listen. Why? Because their ears have not been circumcised. They have not been immersed in the right name. So they're going to be uncircumcised. See, the words of Yahuwah is a reproach to them. They hate these commandments. They hate this word. They say they love it, but they never really come to the full learning of this thing because they won't submit fully. And that's what this takes. You have to submit. And the way you prove that you submission is that you follow these instructions. I know it sounds like a parrot, but it just, this whole book is built on the instruction. This whole book is built on the Mashiach. This whole book, I mean, it is what it is from Genesis all the way to Revelation, right? They do not delight in it. That's Jeremiah 6 and 10. They don't delight in this thing. They say they do, but the actions, the words that come out their mouth show that it's different, right? What they believe in show that they can't. So let's go to Psalms 103, 17 through 18. We're going to go ahead and kick this thing off. So I kind of miss being up here doing this here, but I got to make sure these classes is thorough because I don't ever know. For one, this is part of my works, and I want my offering to be right before the Father at all times. And then number two, I don't ever know who's coming up here, but it don't matter. They can follow along too. All right, so verse 17 says, but the mercy of Yahuwah is from everlasting to everlasting. So this word mercy and grace, we're going to show you it's the same thing, right? But from him, it's from everlasting to everlasting. But how? Upon who? Upon them that fear him and his righteousness until children's children. So if we was acting like we really feared Yahuwah, followed his instructions, then we would be having his mercy all the time. To such as keep his covenant and to those that remember his commandments to do them. So it's basic. I can stop right there, and there's no way anyone can dispute this. But of course they would, because they would say, well, that's the Old Testament, right? Because, I mean, again, we've been just so dummied down through all these centuries because people are trying to destroy us, and the class on Hasatan is coming too, and we're going to get deep into this dispensationalism because you have to understand what's going on. These people understand that you're the children of Israel. So they're trying to destroy you physically, which you see that they're doing, and they're trying to destroy you spiritually by telling you that you don't have to follow instruction. And they're doing a great job. I must say, they are doing an excellent job. So let's go to Psalm. But see, this is what we had to look at. But the mercy of Yahuwah is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him. And the way that you show how you fear him, right, is to such as keep his covenant, which we know as the 10 commandments and the judgments, right? And to those that remember his commandments to do them. It's just that simple. All the words that come out of his mouth. Let's go to Psalms 119 now. Psalms 119 and verse 29. It says, remove from me the way of lying, and grant me the law graciously. I mean, it's like all over this whole book. But again, we have to go through different things because we have to be able to show that this is just not talking about, this is just not in the Old Testament. Even though, I mean, if you've been going through these classes, when the Mashiach came, we showed that he came full of it, right? Full of mercy and truth, which we know is nothing but grace and Torah, right? Let's move on. Denial, also called abnegation, is a defense mechanism in which a person is faced with a fact that is too uncomfortable to accept and rejects it instead, insisting that it is not true despite what may be overwhelming evidence. And by now, if you've been one of my people that subscribe to me, or you even came up here and looked at one of the classes that I do, we always give overwhelming evidence, and that's why sometimes these classes draw out. This is going to be in 2 parts. There's no way I can do this with a quick hit. No way possible. I have to explain everything so that you have a full understanding. So when you get ready to talk to whoever you're talking to, right? You be able to explain it to them. And then it's also going to help you to check yourself too, because we always got to make sure that we check ourselves. That's one of the things I worry about. I love doing what I'm doing. I love teaching. But at the same time, I got to make sure that, I'm helping y'all to get into the kingdom. I got to make sure I'm not a castaway. That would be kind of crazy, right? I'm gonna set up here and do all this work, all these hours of work, because these things take a long time to put together. I mean, it's just like not an overnight thing. I don't go online and look at a sermon and come back and give it to you. I got to do investigation, right? And that's what we supposed to do. Because in two, y'all helping me too. And I mean, because I got to do all this investigation to come up with the class, right? So while I'm doing that, I'm studying to show myself approved too. That's very important for us to always remember, right? Now, we have some questions. Questions we should ask ourselves before we start this class. What do I know about grace? How do I obtain it? How long has grace been around? That's a good one. Did it really start in the New Testament? Does grace trump the Torah? These are very, very important questions that we should ask ourselves, right? Very important questions, right? And we're going to get to the bottom of all of them. 2 Peter 2:1 says, false prophets also arose among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you who will secretly introduce destructive heresies, even denying the master who bought them, bringing swift destruction upon themselves. What do you mean bought them? Because they was redeemed. You're supposed to be redeemed with a price. So you can't just, we're going to show you this just because you say, I mean, he even though he bought me, I can still go out and do craziness. No. He redeemed you one time. It's up to you to keep your garment white, to stay redeemed. And you have to take the same steps he took, right? Just that simple, right? We're supposed to be emulating the Mashiach, right? So Romans 16:17-18. Now I urge you, brethren, keep your eye on those who cause dissensions and hindrances contrary to the teaching which you learn. We've been learning about these commandments. So I don't care who it is. If they causing dissensions, if they causing you to and hindrances, right, to split away from what Paul was saying, right, which basically he got the information from the Mashiach when that light hit him. Please believe that, right? Plus we know he was brought up in Torah. Then you got to get away from that person, and we're going to show you all this because again, without understanding the instructions, without understanding what we're going to learn today, it's impossible to understand Paul's writings. For such men are slaves, not of our sovereign Hamashiach, but of their own appetites, right? Teaching you some of these heresies. It's their own appetites because they add money or they add power. They want to rule over you. It's just that simple, right? And by their smooth and flattering speech, they deceive the hearts of the unsuspecting. And most of us, when we go to these churches or wherever we go to these temples or we go to these mosques, we hanging on every word that this man gives us. And without doing our own research, we don't know if it's true or not. So we sitting up there with our mind deceived, right? Because we are the unsuspecting, but you should suspect everybody. I do. It don't even matter. I don't care who I'm talking to. We bust open this book. I'm suspecting till we can go ahead and sit down and iron sharpen iron, and then we go ahead and then reason in this book. Now I know, okay, we on the same path, brother. We can walk together. You want some of this bread I got in the bag? Yeah, man, I got some wine right here. Okay, well, hey, man, it's gonna be a long journey. Other than that, I can't follow you down because you're going down the wide path. I got to stay on this narrow path. You understand what I'm saying? Let's go to the next one. But this is a problem. We drunk right now with dispensationalism, the doctrine of it. That's what got us drunk. And we're going to show you in another lesson exactly what that means. Because right now, our people are drunk with everything. It ain't just real alcohol and drugs. We drunk with doctrine. And y'all going to see when y'all go through this class, when you start talking to grandma and your cousins. And I don't know. I know when I called myself a Christian, when I started finding I was bold. I would go up to the pastor and ask him these questions. Of course, I got through out, but so what? It led me to the truth. And that's what we got to be strong. We got to be bold. We can't be afraid of this thing of telling somebody the truth, no matter who it is, because he's just a man that's a teacher. If one of my people that I deal with come and say, man, you look at this, I got to look at it. I ain't nobody. All the glory and honor goes to the Father, right? Wow. Anyway, let's keep moving. Now, 1 John 2 and 2. Let's go there. Go to 1 John 2 and 2. 1 John 2 and 2. We're going to start at the top. My little children, we're going to start at verse 1. These things write I unto you that ye sin not. What? That you don't break the commandments. If any man break the commandments, we have an advocate with the Father, Yahushua HaMashiach, the righteous. And he is the propitiation for our transgressions against the law. And not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. Because he came and did this, right? He came for Israel. Now, when it's saying that he for the sins of the whole world, basically what it's saying is he came to Israel first. Then he sent, as we've been learning, that he sent the apostles out to go and talk to the whole world. We're going to show you that. We got another class we're going to throw up here. It's going to be dealing with dietary, but it's going to be dealing with Paul. I mean, we just dealing with Peter. We're not going to go through the dietary law because some of y'all, y'all have read in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. You know, in other words, you read how it was given, because that's what it really boils down to. When you're talking about some of these things, you have to be able to understand what was given to the covenant that was first made after the golden calf happened. Then you got to be able to understand in Deuteronomy, it was just that Deuteronomy is the history of Exodus. But what's happening? He's talking to a whole new crowd, because all the children that were 20 and under was the ones that was able at the time of the breach was able to go and after, I'm sorry, at the time of the breach and after all the murmuring, those were the ones that came, that was able to cross over and go into the promised land. So Moshe had to tell them these things all over again. Now, if you really pay attention, you'll realize that it was just the commandments and judgments, right? Which were, and I mean, this is the whole covenant that was given to them from the very beginning. That's all they had to do was keep the mitzvahs and the covenant. That's it. But they couldn't do that. So when the children, because all the rest of them died, right? And he waited till every last one of them dropped dead. And then when the children went ahead and crossed over the Jordan and was in the new land of milk and honey, then this is when he went ahead and told them that's what Deuteronomy is. He went ahead and gave them the history of Exodus all over again, except now he added curses. This is what's going to happen, because I already know you got this blood in you. So, and y'all stiff-necked, hard-headed people. So listen, this is what I'm going to add to this. Because in Exodus, it said once he gave them these first commandments and judgments, he added no more. But over here, he added a whole lot more. And again, just stick with us. We're going to show you this. So let's see, 1 John 2 and 2. So we hit that. And then let's go. Let me see something here. Yeah, let's go over to chapter 4 and verse 10. Did I finish that? Because I get to talking sometime. Oh, no, you know what? I got to read. Let's go back to chapter 2. I got to read this here, verse 3. Actually, I'm gonna read a little bit today because it's gonna be 2 parts. So I don't like to rush. I like to make sure we get all that we can in. Right now, we know appropriation is word number 2435. It means a walk of mercy. Walk as he walked. Right? Walk of mercy. That's basically it. But let's keep reading, and I'm gonna break this down for y'all with the chet and the noon. Right? It says, and hereby we do know that we know him. So how do we know that we know him? Remember, the word know means to be intimate, right? How are we intimate with him? if we keep his commandments, because he is our husband, right? He that says, I know him and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. It don't matter who it is. If he's not keeping these commandments or trying to keep these, attempting to keep these commandments, he is a liar. And the truth is not in him. Right? But whosoever keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of Elohim perfected. Hereby we know that we are in him. We went through that these last, if you've been following these series in order, you will know exactly what this means. He that says he abideth in him ought himself also to walk, even as he walked. We can go back this up with James chapter 2 and 10. Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you, but an old commandment, which you have heard from the beginning. The old commandment is the word which you have heard from the beginning. It's just that simple. Just that simple, right? Now let's go over here to 1 John chapter 4 and verse 10, right? Let's see. Yeah, let's do that. He said, herein is love, not that we loved Elohim, but that he loved us and sent his son to be the propitiation for our sins, right? So we just showing this word appropriation. So basically, appropriation just means offense of life. And we know who the offense of life is. It's the Mashiach, right? Because you do have some Hebrews that's running around here. They'll tell you straight up, man. I mean, I don't believe in the Mashiach. You're like, what? You know what I'm saying? How can you not believe the whole book is about the Mashiach? Well, okay, so where your altar at, brother? You know what I mean? Because you're supposed to have an altar. You don't believe in the Mashiach, you're supposed to have an altar out there. This is why them fake Jews or the Jewish people is trying to build. Eventually, I guess they're supposed to be putting up some type of temple or and a place of sacrifice. So the book already tells us when we see these type of things, what's really gonna pop off, right? But again, he is the fence of life. So we have the chet, which means gate or fence or protection, right? And life and deliverance, which is the noon. So it's just it's all there, it's all together. There's nobody else that can do this for you but the Mashiach. But this is what he is for us, right? Fence of life. So, and we're going to show you no matter what you do, you can be a good person all you want. Paul tells you that who does these type of things? They save the whales. And like I say, we're going to get to that. Let's keep moving. In times past, some of us who experienced church were taught the saved doctrine, right? Just believe and be saved by grace. I was like that at one time. Dispensationalism with no requirements. That's that, I can understand why that would be kind of hard to let go. Because listen, I don't have to do nothing. I can do whatever I want. Then I ask for forgiveness. I'm gonna get that with no penalty attached. Then I can come to church on Sunday, dance before whoever that's supposed to be. But we know it ain't Yahuwah, all right? And then listen to some false teaching, all right? Get filled up with all these heresies and everything. Dance and cry and move, jump around, and then I ain't got to worry about that no more for the whole week. Plus, if I did happen to go out here and die, I'm going to heaven. Just believe. Don't worry. Christ knows your heart. He knows your heart. Come as you are. You ain't got to change nothing. He knows your heart, right? But what they are missing is the fact that there are different stages of development in our walk, as we will see. There is no grace without obedience to the Father's will. That's one of the first scriptures we read to you, what you have to do, right? All right, let's keep rolling. Step one, you are born. That's your immersion, right? I'm born again. Step one, you are born, which means you are immersed in the Father's name. Step two, you must learn how to eat, right? You got to learn how to study. Step three, you must learn how to walk, conduct yourself, how you talk, how you laugh, who you hanging around. When they having these filthy conversations, and they laugh and you just acting like, if you at work, you acting like you ain't hearing nothing, right? You know what I mean? You don't take it. I mean, your conduct is everything because that's your light that's going to shine in front of these people. And that's your light that's going to convict. It's going to convict them. But it's also going to make them hate you too, right? So, And this is another reason why we got to learn how to depend on the Father, because, I lost a few jobs because of this. So it's going to happen. Because when you're not eating like they're eating at lunchtime, you're not sitting with them, you're always alone somewhere at lunchtime with your own lunch, reading your Bible. When they start talking about sports, you don't know nothing about what they're talking about. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. If sisters, y'all got your own things that these sisters now are so foul mouthed and dirty, it's unbelievable. But you got to be able to separate yourself from that. And Yahuwah is going to protect you. So even if they do get mad and lie on you or come up with something, because it's going to happen, and you get fired, so what? I promise you, within the next, maybe the same day or the next day, trust me, he's going to give you, and it's going to be better. But sometimes, I don't know, for me, I had to go through these stages, especially when I first came home. When I got out of lockup, I had to go through these stages, and he put me in one of the worst places you could ever work at. And so I had to go through that. And then that part of that was chastisement too for my foolishness. And now you have to remember these things, because in Christianity, you just ask to be forgiven and everything is good. When you go in this water and you start tripping, oh, he gonna be just like your father for real. So step 4, you must be shown the path of longevity. And this is what we're trying to do, is trying to show you through these different classes how to get longevity. Because once you start going through these classes, you start understanding what your role is, what the Father's role is, what the Mashiach's role is, and how the Ruach HaKodesh is there to help you. And this is what we have to understand. Choose you this day. In Christianity, we are given a choice to choose between the commandments of Yahuwah and grace. It is made to appear as though it is one or the other. But is this the fact? In this teaching, we choose Yahusha by grace through faith, not grace alone. We understand that he died on the tree to restore covenant back to Israel, and we also understand that he is the one Elohim in the Elohim family that we have dealt with in his spirit form, Yahuwah Elohim El Shaddai, and in the flesh as Yahusha HaMashiach. So let's explore this misunderstood word in the Bible together, and let's see if we can reach facts to conclude the reality of this word grace. Now let's go to Joshua real quick. We got to be able to understand this stuff, y'all, because this is a real big problem for a lot of people. And I'm not trying to beat up anybody. I'm just trying to say we got to, and salvation is on the line. We got to look at this thing. I mean, we see if you just open your eyes, you see what's going on. This world is just getting more and more devilish and wicked every day. And every time it don't even matter if you in your house. Anything can happen. And we see this. And then he's steady sending a tempest on different places and all 24 tornadoes in one day. And unbelievable. But he said he was going to do these things, right? Because what is he trying to do? They'll say, well, man, he's cruel. He's cruel. No, he's trying to, because he know that your mind has been blinded by Hasatan so strong that maybe if I take everything from you that you worshiping, maybe then, because all they always say, well, I thank God. And, and some of the people going to call on him and start really choosing. They're going to really start searching for him. They're going to really start looking for him after that. Because sometimes that's what it takes. That's what it took for me. I'm out here rolling, have my own business. I'm out here doing other things, trying to get this money. And then he took everything all at one time. And then I'm sitting up here. It was perfect. He knows what he's doing. And sometimes, so this is why these things are happening, because he wants man to repent. That's what this is all about, baby. He's trying to be merciful, because when you stand before him, you're not going to be able to charge him with anything, because he is doing everything every day in your life to get you to do this. And he got different people that's coming to you in different type of classes on YouTube, because you think these men came up with that? They came up with it for money and evil, but it's so many ways that whatever you want, even if you don't like to read, which we know we don't, you can find the truth. It's up here. So there won't be any excuse. and the mercy that he's giving you every day and the benefits that he's giving you every day. What do you mean, Saul? When I go outside, I'm looking, it's beautiful, the sun's shining, birds chirping, I got fresh air, I can breathe, I can see. These are benefits. He don't owe you this. It's up to him if you get them or not, whether you understand that or not. Exodus 24:15. It says, let's see, I'm gonna start at 14. It says, now therefore fear Yahuwah and serve him in sincerity and in truth. So we got to serve him in sincerity and in truth. Sincere heart, really mean it. And put away the Elohims which your father served on the other side of the flood in Egypt, and serve ye Yahuwah. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahuwah, because see, sometimes with this, some of this stuff, I talked to my sister the other day. We finally been trying to get her to look at a lesson. Now she grew up with this just like I did. And she said, when she was like, well, I looked at it for a few minutes, but you know, I'm a Christian. I just said, like, wow. You know, we grew up knowing that we was Israel back in the 70s. Now we thought and I can understand it because at the time, way back then, I thought my father was crazy when he was talking about this, right? Because he wasn't really, his works was weak compared to, but the words was coming out of his mouth was right, but his conduct was weak, very weak. So I mean, and it took me a minute because I kept saying, but once I started seeing this thing was true, but if you don't even want to listen to it, it can't help you, right? And if it seemed evil unto you, so a lot of people are going to say that, man, that stuff is wicked. You know what I mean? That's evil. So it seems evil to them, right? Choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the Elohims which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, and we got some of these running around here today, or the Elohim of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for right, because all the Elohims here, you know, I mean, guy was talking about football the other day at work. He can't wait for it. He getting ready to go down to Dallas and Louisiana. And I said, well, I mean, I knew then he for the camps or whatever it is. I knew then you definitely don't watch no kind of news because you ain't going to Louisiana right now, brother, because it's underwater. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't say nothing, right? But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahuwah. Just that simple. Just that simple, right? And the people answered and said, Elohim forbid that we should forsake Elohim to serve other Elohim. Now, remember, this is the brand new children, right? And it's so many other, we can go through this whole thing, boy, because this whole chapter is a really good chapter, right? Even how Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of Elohim. Now, that's a whole nother story, right? We go get into, y'all go see this chapter again. This is a very powerful chapter. But anyway, let's keep rolling for sake of time. Now, the word grace, and using the Strong's Hebrew and Chaldee dictionary. If you don't have one of them, need to find one. I don't even know if they should still have these. All right, not just, but this is a very good tool to have. It's H number 2580. It's the word chain, graciousness, i.e. subjection, right? Kindness, favor, or objective, beauty, favor, grace, graciousness, right? Gracious, right? Pleasant, precious, well favored. Wait a minute. Can your grandma be saying she blessed and highly favored? That's what she talking about, this grace, right? But then you saw her eating them, when you came over there on Sunday, she had some smothered pork chops. With the biscuits on the side. I know what I'm talking about. With that giblet gravy, buddy. It was hard to resist, but you fought it off. But anyway, so she had that. Then she's still going to church on the day of the sun. But she's saying she blessed and highly favored, well favored. Wow. But Noah found grace, right? Same word, chen, in the eyes of Yahuwah Elohim. So wait a minute, Noah found grace. Well, how can Noah find grace and Mashiach ain't here? Because we know Noah was obedient. The father stepped to him, right? And Yahweh Elohim, both there. I mean, when the Elohim, all of them stepped to him and said, look, man, We need you to do this, build this ark. That brother ain't hesitate. He was very obedient at all times. So that's how he found grace. And out of the whole earth, the people that was populating the earth that time, at that time, he the only one that found mercy. Wow. Something to think about. Let's keep rolling. From the root H2603, right? JDH, Canaan, Canaan, Chanan, a prime root, compilation 2583, prop to bend or to stoop in kindness, to inferior, to favor, bestow, right? To implore, move to favor by petition, right? So when you're getting on your knees, that's what you asking for. When you begging, right? Or because a lot of us do that instead of just praying for everybody else. We are, Father, I need this, and I need this Mercedes, and if I could just have this Mercedes, I would just feel so much better. Be fine, show favorable, right? Deal, give, grant graciously, entreat, be merciful, show mercy. In other words, have pity upon, pray, make supplication. So basically, that's all this is. Grace ain't nothing but mercy, and it's favor. So we got to remember these words, favor and grace, right? I need that charger, Father. I'm 23 and everybody else got a charger. I need a charger too. Yeah, I got you. But that's what this is. It's favor and mercy equal grace. Let's keep rolling. Given for goodwill, love, mercy, pity, favor. When we bend and pray, when we entreat Yahuwah, he grants our need. Why? Because I'm doing everything he told me to do. I'm submitted down to him, right? And I'm attempting with all my being to keep his will. Goodwill, loving kindness, favor of the mercy, Elohim, right? That's what this is. It's just so when you see these words favor or you see grace, it's the same thing. And we showed you from the beginning, that's who he is. He is that, but he's also righteous. So if you are trying to be righteous and you doing this with all your mind, you know what I mean, with all your body, by your deeds, we're going to show you what I mean by deeds, because we got that confused too. And we've been taught that this wrong type of deeds for a long time. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahuwah Elohim. We just hit that. 1 John 2:2, we just hit that. We just looked at those, right? So now we understand what propitiation is, atonement, fence of protection. So if we want protection, if we want a shield and a buckler, we got to keep these instructions. That's how you gonna get it. Other than that, you're not gonna get this. There is no grace for you, because when I say that, I've got to be very careful, because we know that what were you told out of the book? That he reigns on the just just like he does the unjust, because he's that type of Elohim. I keep telling you now, not gonna have no excuse when you stand before him, because he does these things, because that's just how he's built. He's built like that. But I look, okay, I ain't, because there is no he don't have no respect to persons. He loved those that love him, definitely. You know what I mean? So he has respect in that sense. But at the same time, if all the world wicked, he's still gonna make sure y'all got crops. He's still gonna make sure that you get the rain so your food grow. This is what he does, because all of us are part of his creation. You just have those that's disobedient children and those that's trying to listen to their father. That's all. Same way in your household. It might be 12 kids. You're going to have 2 of them that's going to be out of control. They're going to be just wow. And then you're going to have those that's kind of intermediate, lukewarm. But then you're going to have those that's on fire, and the parents love them and they proud of them and all these type of things, right? And then the one that's just straight wicked comes around and say, I'm the black sheep of the family and y'all never really loved me. Nah, that's because of your actions when you were stealing out mama purse. You know what I mean? You took daddy's car in the middle of the night and crashed it. They always got to come bail you out. All these type of things. It's the same thing, same exact thing. All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 3 now. We're going to look at some of this. Exodus chapter 3. So we're going to try to give you an example of what grace through faith really means. Because a lot of us we've been twisted with this thing really bad. You can't serve this Elohim without true faith. But true faith is more than just, I believe. No, you got something to prove. You got actions to show, right? All right. Let's go there. Exodus chapter 31, 21 through 22. And he says, and I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when you go, you shall not go empty. But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor and of her that sojourneth in her house jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and you shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and you shall spoil the Egyptian. Now, this is what happened. Now, if you go through this whole chapter, you'll get a better understanding. But what happened was, this is what was going on with Israel when they was getting ready to leave out of that country. Yahuwah went ahead and spoiled them, put money in their pocket. And as we get into the priesthood, you're going to see when they start building different things in the temple and putting different things together. This is where they got the materials from. But this is what Yahuwah did. He spoiled the Egyptians. And why? Because they was obedient. And what they was doing was very, very dangerous at that time. So it took a lot of faith for them to do whatever they was doing. So when we're going to show you what they had to do. And that's why we got this ram up here. This is one of their Elohims, right? We're going to show you what that means, right? All right. Because see, for us, when we start talking about sheep and everything, it points us toward the Mashiach. When you start dealing with them, then they have Elohims that, in other words, like I said, we're going to get to that. Let's keep moving. All right. Let's look at this conversation in the scriptures, right? Between Moshe and the Pharaoh. Let's go to Exodus chapter 8. See exactly what we're talking about. We already showed you that Pharaoh was a dragon, right? All right, let's look at this conversation now. Let's start at verse 25. And Pharaoh called for Moshe and for Aaron and said, go ye sacrifice to your Elohim in the land. And Moshe said, it is not meet so to do, for we shall sacrifice the abominations of the Egyptians to Yahuwah our Elohim. Now, what did he mean by that? Like, I don't know, man. You sure you mean it's okay because the abomination is anything that's sacrificed that's not the way that it's supposed to be according to the priesthood. And then we like, I know you said, well, man, wait a minute, how could this be? Because Aaron and wasn't here. Well, you had the firstborn that was doing this. And then we got a class on that. The firstborns was doing the sacrifices before Levi was. So again, you're still seeing that they still was keeping the feast, and we're gonna get into that later. They were still trying to go out to keep the feast to Yahuwah, right? So that's always been here. And then he's saying because it's an abomination to who? It's an abomination to the Egyptians, right? Shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and will they not stone us? So this is one of the Elohim. When you come to sacrificing a lamb, to us it's a holy thing, but to them that's the Elohim. So it's like kind of like if you went downtown in your city and set the flag on fire, you going to jail, right? So it's the same thing. It's an abomination. In other words, to them it would be that's what he's trying to say. To them, this would be an abomination because you're killing one of our Elohims, putting it over your doorpost. We're going to show you this, right? And he says, we will go 3 days journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Yahuwah Elohim as he shall command us. So we got to get way away from y'all when we do this. But Moshe said that would not be right. The sacrifices we offer to Yahuwah Elohim would be detestable to the Egyptians. And if we offer sacrifices that are detestable in their eyes, will they not stone us? We must take a 3-day journey into a wilderness to offer sacrifice to Yahuwah Elohim as he commands us. Now, we trying to do this around here. It's dangerous. But if we go 3 days out, we already know this is the Elohim. We can get killed. But we got to do it because we got to show the Father that we trust and obey him. So we're gonna let's do this 3 days, but unfortunately it's not going to work out like that. So as we see, faith and obedience go hand in hand. There are many witnesses to this fact. Let's go to Exodus chapter 12 now. Just because they put the blood over the doorpost, it just wasn't just taking it in. And then you had, now think about this. You had people that was from all kind of different nations that came out with the children of Israel. So that means they had to do this too. And then you had some Egyptians that was like, they had to take their own abomination or their own Elohim, kill that, and then put that over their doorpost. Wow, you can't get people to stop using the name of Jesus, let alone this. Think about how powerful this is, right? Exodus chapter 12. We're gonna start at I'm gonna start at verse 1. We're gonna read through this. And Yahuwah spake to Moshe and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak you into all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. So again, this was very dangerous because this lamb or this sheep was one of the Egyptians' Elohims, and the household be too little for the lamb. Let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of their souls. I mean, people's in their house. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, Mashiach, a male of the first year, Mashiach. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, right? Boom. Separate them. And you shall keep it, because that's what we're supposed to be. These are all examples of us too. And you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take the blood and strike it on the two doorposts and on the upper doorposts of the house, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in the night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Right. So this is what it's saying. Now, let's jump down to verse 12 and 13. Now, this is what happened. He said, For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the Elohims of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. And the blood shall be to you for a token. What's the word token? It's a sign. What else is it? It's a warning upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. So, and we got to remember, when he's talking like this, it's not him. He has different spirits, these evil spirits, that these fallen messengers, right? And we're going to show you in the Psalms, that's who does this. That's who, I mean, we're going to actually show you who the destroying messenger is when we get to that series. So, so this is something that they had to do. This was being obedience. Now, that was a very dangerous thing, but they still was doing it. So it's not just believing. It's going against things that you don't want to go against sometimes. Because we have a lot of hindrances in this flesh, right? A lot of things you might have to go against your mama. You might have to do that if you want to be, for me, saved by grace through faith. I can't do this, Mom. I can't come up there for that. I can't do it. I can't sacrifice the Sabbath day for that. I can't do it. And I ain't going to do it. And sometimes, and I walk, and we first started walking out of this thing, and some of these things going to be hard to do. You're going to miss some of this stuff. You're going to give in. It's just a fact. You're going to do it. But I mean, it shouldn't be 5 years or 3 years later, 4 years even, and you still do it. You still can't get past that. Something is wrong. So this thing is, I mean, trust me, this walk is a progression, and it's going to be a progression for the rest of your life. But these different type of tests is going to come, and you got to be able to pass them. Otherwise, you're not going to be worthy. Now, what else happened out of this, right? A nation was born out of the womb. So this represents a female womb. Here's the blood on the doorpost, like when a baby is being born. It also represents the threshold covenant, stepping over this part that's how the bride actually used to pick up the woman. Like, I don't know if they do show this anymore. these days. But when I was a shorty, whenever somebody got married, they always used to pick them up and walk over, step over the threshold, walk into the house with the bride, not even understanding what they was talking about. But that represents the Mashiach with us, his bride, stepping through the threshold. So this has a two-part meaning. And when we get to the covenants, we're gonna break that down for you. We're gonna show you exactly what that means. But just think of that, especially sisters, y'all understand what I'm saying, that have kids. This is what this represents. A nation being born, right? Now, and then we're gonna show you this is not a brand new document, right? This is not a brand new New Testament doctrine. That's, you have to understand that being saved through faith by grace is not brand new. Right? And then Paul goes, he said, well, Ephesians 2, 8-9, for by grace are you saved. Let's go there. That's why something about me, I gotta say, I hate, because I like to have a class up here every week anyway, especially for our own class that we do. But the thing is, but I mean, and we understand this, right? Let's go to Ephesians Chapter 2. We're gonna start at verse 8. Now, for by grace are you saved through faith. What? Through belief. What? Through obedience. And that not of yourself. It is a gift of Yahuwah. Right? And we can go check some of this with in Habakkuk 2 and 4. Not of works, lest any man should boast. Why he keep saying this? You know, every time we read in Paul's writing, we hearing the deeds of the law, the this of the law, the works of the law. We're going to show you that in this series, and we got one more series. We're going to break it all the way down for you, because if you don't understand that, you won't understand Paul. I know I keep saying it, but it's the truth. Elohim have before ordained that we should walk in them, right? So let's see, you got not of works lest any man should boast, for we are his workmanship, created in Yahushua HaMashiach unto good works, which Elohim had before ordained that we should walk in them. Wait a minute, so you just got regular works, but then you have good work. What works? What was this not? What was this not? This not work. Yes, it was so Paul must be talking about a different types of works, as we will see, right? Notice verse 10, right? What does it say? Good works. Good works, right? So when I said what works, was this not work? Yes, it was. So Paul must be talking about different types of works, as we will see. So you just got somebody that's doing works and deeds that ain't adding up for nothing, but then you got somebody that's being obedient, which is part of good works. Got to understand this, right? And then up here, he's talking about not of works lest any man should boast. Not like he's talking about somebody specific, and we're going to show you who that is eventually. Now, the ram was a sacred animal of two Egyptian Elohims, Amun and Kanum. All right, contempt for Amun. Amun was a very important Elohim in ancient Egypt and in the New Kingdom, 1550 to 1070 BCE. He was seen as a king of the Elohim and was syncretized with the sun god as Amun Ra, right? So here's Kanun supposed to be making man. So this is their Elohim. They have an Elohim family, but when we get to Hasatan, we're gonna show you who these deities actually are. And that man is actually worshiping them. But he's supposed to be the king of the Elohim. In other words, he's supposed to be like the father and to them. So that makes it more powerful. You thinking like, here is this now. This is supposed to be. Wait a minute, they taking the father and they cutting him up, put it on it, and then they put it on their doorpost. Ooh wee. He talking about that don't take. He thought it was just that easy, like they just took the lamb and just nah. It's you dealing with Yahuwah, baby. It's always with him. He want to see what you made of. The worship of sacred animals is as old as Egyptian religion. Each of the major and many of the minor deities have their specific sacred animals, right? So it's just that simple. And we know that you got these Egyptologists running around talking about Ra. Yeah, right. Man, and then we just got done reading that. What did he do? that the Father was going to deal with these Elohims, and he did. If you go back and look at the plagues and look up what each one of these animals represented to these people, you would see he used their same Elohims to attack them. And then one of the main ones, Ra, he just knocked him out the box. But once you understand who these Elohims are, then you'll see why it was so easy for him to do them. We could do that because he's the one that created them. What do you mean, Saul? These was fallen Malachims. They are fallen messengers, man. And these are the children of the fallen messengers. That's the real reality of it. So they stuck because they have nowhere to go. And 1/10 of these beings was given to Hasatan to help him destroy and fool man. We're going to read that to you when we get to him. Now, let's go to, we did these, Exodus 12 and 3, Exodus 12 and 7. We did these. This act of obedience took great faith, and a great act of obedience to do this, to kill an Egyptian Elohim that had to carry a death penalty. But we see faith and obedience in action. Believe in the Elohim enough to obey him and gain mercy or favor. Bottom line, by grace through faith, this concept is ancient. It's ancient. It just didn't start in the New Testament, y'all. We just showed you this. It's ancient. Everything in this book is ancient. Yahuwah saved you by his grace when you believe, and you can't take credit for this. It is a gift from Yahuwah, right? So let's keep rolling. Saved through faith by putting the blood on the doorpost, which means they was born into a new life, coming through the womb. And they was rescued from the dragon, which we know we can go to Exodus 29 and 3 and read. That's what Pharaoh's title really was, right? Brought to the mountain. Let's go to Exodus chapter 6. You thought the damsel in distress from the dragon was like something that somebody just dreamed up, huh? Nah, man. You'd be surprised when you start really doing the research and due diligence on this book right here. Ruach HaKodesh that open your eyes, showing you a whole lot of stuff, where they be getting this stuff from. Everything. Basically, it's a whole lot of things that you get from this book, the way your government is set up. I mean, so many things, but at the same time, they just wicked with it. Exodus chapter 6, verse 6 through 11. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am Yahuwah, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm. You know, that's dealing with the Mashiach, and with great judgments. Yeah, because he gave you great judgments. That's what I mean. And we're gonna get to that eventually, but I told y'all over and over what chapters to go to read this, and then we even no, it might be another class I did for somebody else, but we're gonna show you this. He said with great judgments, and I will take you, which also represent the things that he did to Egypt, because he judged them. And boy, you can just imagine everything was torn to pieces, right? Just like he's doing right here. Because when you really look at it, all these things like on TV, they happen back to back. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like back to back to back to back. The same thing. I mean, what you seeing happening in America, right? And all over the world. Hold on a second, get something to drink. It's happening everywhere. Same thing that's happening here. Same thing that happened here. And that's what we have to understand. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you an Elohim, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, with bringing you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. He's going to do the same thing for us here. We just got to turn to him, but we just won't do it. We keep trying to get lawyers, and these jokers running around getting rich. Everybody get rich off. People move in your neighborhood and open up stores, they get rich, and then they leave and don't even put a dime back in the community. They just come sell you all this garbage, you know, all this old food and all these cheap clothes and knockoffs and all this type of stuff, right? And then even your own leaders, like you got Al Sharpton got to get paid 50 grand to speak at your funeral. And you got these lawyers, these big lawyers that everybody keeps going to ask. That's how we are. We creatures of habit. So you get the bald head guy, and then I think it's one more other guy. Then after that, every time somebody gets shot, they go get the same cat. You know what I mean? Hoping that he can get them money. It's crazy. And then he's steady making a killing. Everybody eat off you, man. This is like, I'm sorry, y'all. It's just so crazy. It's unbelievable. And our people still don't get it. It's like, boy, this word is so true. And I will bring you into the land concerning the which I did swear to give it unto Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for a heritage. I am Yahuwah. And Moshe spake so unto the children of Israel, but they hearkened not, just like today, unto Moses for anguish of spirit and for cruel bondage. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Go in, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he let the children of Israel go out of the land. And Moshe spake before Yahuwah, saying, Behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me. How shall Pharaoh hear me, who am of uncircumcised lips? Now that's a whole nother story, but it just wanted to just show you our people, we still just don't get it. On TV talking about justice ain't this. Then when the police come, okay. Now it's two scenarios to this. Because like I say, I've been pulled over and ain't nothing happened to me. Matter of fact, I ain't even nothing happened. I ain't with no ticket, no nothing. That man told me have a nice day and go about my business. But see, what I didn't do is when they try to, I obeyed the laws of the land. Because what you have to really, when you really pull the curtain back, you realize it's the Father that's after you. Now, all these cars, I'm sure traffic is the same way everywhere. And then they just pull you over. What do you think that is? That's the Father. Now, if you dirty, you already dirty. They got you. Because first of all, you wasn't supposed to be doing what you're doing. 10 to 1, you got guns, you got drugs, because you're killing your folks with that poison anyway. So it's now Yahoo is bringing judgment on you. So just when they pull you, instead of just trying to outrun them, you're not going to get away from them. That's number one. When you do this type of thing, you really go there. I mean, if they was going to plan, if Yahoo was planning to kill you, there's nothing you can do about it. Pull your car over, man. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and don't hide nothing. Go ahead and go to the jail, go to the prison house, because that is like a form of, and I know it sounds crazy, it's gonna sound crazy to some people, but it's a form of mercy. Because now I gotta take you out. I really want you. I really want to help you, son. I want to save you. So I got to take you out of this element from around the people that you in, get this Elohim of fortune, which is money, get that out of your mind and put you in a place. Now, it's going to be kind of dangerous, but you should be used to that because you said you were a thug. So you shouldn't have no problem because I got some other thugs there too. But now this is what you're going to sit down for a while. I'm going to have somebody bring you these scriptures. That's how we're going to start this relationship. Because I got to do that for you because you got a head like a goat like that. That's mercy. All right? Go ahead and do that. I mean, if it's something small, but trying to take off and run off from these folks, it's definitely going to get you killed. Because now, guess what? His thoughts is going to kick in. So when they roll up on you, don't fight these police, man. Stop talking back to them crazy. Don't even go through all that. Let it be what it's going to be. That's the time when you're supposed to pray. But then when you do that, now you don't open your mouth and then set a vow. This thing is real serious. But when judgments come, it's coming. And they don't care about it. I watched this lady, she wouldn't stop. And they chased her down. When they got to that car, they opened that door and they grabbed that woman by her dreads, old lady, and threw her down on the ground. And she talking about she all hurt. And they said, stop trying to fight these cops. That's what we got to understand. And then once the man does blatant things and they kill him, then the family still be on there talking about it was an assassination. That man had a warrant on him. Ain't no telling what he was doing. Ain't no telling how much. We know the kind of things that goes on in our community, and we know the people that's doing them. So when these things happen, I just don't get it. I mean, our blindness is unbelievable. And I'm not saying that everybody that gets pulled over is dirty. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this. It's just if you got your shield and buckler, you keeping these commandments. This is what I mean, because I'm trying to make it so it's the bottom line. If you're obedient to Yah, who cares? Because you're gonna die eventually one day anyway. This might be the time when they pull you over, and it's your time that you actually done really been doing everything that you're supposed to. Because when you really get into these scriptures and you really understand what these prophets are saying, you might not want to be here anyway. What's getting ready to come? Jacob's trouble, it's already here. The house of Jacob saved by the grace through faith and brought to Sinai. This is where they learned of the good works that would please Elohim in the form of judgments and commandments. He taught them how to treat their Elohim, how to treat them, and how to love their neighbor as themselves. If they wanted to be part of his covenant family, they had to follow his instructions, which is the Torah, after they were saved by grace. So he saved them from the dragon by grace through obedience. And now he brought them out here and told him what they need to do to please him and how y'all need to get along. And so y'all won't be out here shooting each other and cutting each other and doing all these other things, you know what I mean, out here in these streets, out here in this wilderness. I wish I could see this thing like I do. Salvation is by faith and not by the deeds of the Torah. Therefore, by the deeds of the Torah, there shall no flesh be justified in his knowledge. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. Wait a minute. What is Paul trying to say? Verse 28, therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Wait a minute, so what you trying to say? So then why should I go? Why should I keep the Sabbath class? Why should I keep the feast days? He said right here, the deeds of the law. Okay, well, we're going to find out what they are. We're going to find out what these are. Because see, how can Paul turn around and tell you that by the law, he understood the knowledge of sin, but then turn around and say that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law? What is it? See, so I'm saying, so Paul must be crazy. No, Paul not crazy. We're going to show you what he's talking about. And we're going to show you this. So again, you have to understand what is what to understand what is. That make any sense. I'm just playing with you, but I'm just messing around with that. But I mean, it is what it is. You got to understand a lot of these other things before you can really understand Paul's writings, because Paul will have you going crazy, right? If you're really trying to seek this thing out, you're going to need the Ruach, but this is why you have other people to show you how to walk on the path. And we're going to show you that. We're going to show you that this morning. It won't be in this setting, but we're going to show you that. Salvation is by faith and not the deeds of the Torah. Romans 3:20 through 23 and verse 28. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. So you have to have the law, because without the commandments, you don't even know if you're doing right or doing wrong. But now the righteousness of Elohim without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets. What? Oh, they saw this too. Even the righteousness of Elohim, which is by faith of Yahuwah, unto all and upon all that believe, for there is no difference, right? So whoever you are, if you don't, I don't want to be no Hebrew Israelite. I'm a Gentile and I'm a Christian. Well, it's the same thing. There ain't no difference. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of Yahuwah. That's why we have to have the Mashiach. So salvation shows faith, right, and action, right? You have to believe enough to do what he's telling you to do, plus the Mashiach. You can't have the actions or the deeds by themselves. And we're going to show you what that is, right? I'm a nice person. I don't bother. They ain't good enough. I help the blind. It ain't good enough. I feed. It ain't good enough. You got to have both. Without the Mashiach, there is no salvation. Salvation plus faith plus the Mashiach is how you're going to get to salvation. It's just that simple, right? Because Paul comes back in Romans 2:14. For when Gentiles that have not the law do by nature the things of the law, these not having the law are a law unto themselves. They got their own merits. Oh my goodness, it's a whale that's on the beach. The news is out there, the fire department, all that. But they ain't got the Mashiach. It don't mean nothing. They open up an orphanage. They down here feeding the people. So they got a giant food bank, and you come down to the baseball stadium, get all kind of food and all these things. Without the Mashiach, it don't mean nothing. So the Gentiles, like I said, this by nature, they just, I mean, it's just a lot of them just don't like you. But by nature, they'll help you. And I know that for a fact. So, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law. What? Justified by the work? But I thought he said good works. Again, two different works. But by the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, even we have believed in Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might be justified by faith of the Christ and not by the works of the law. Wait a minute, works of the law. Justified by the work. This works of the law. By the faith of Christ and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. Wait a minute now, Paul. We're going to have to get to the bottom of this. Galatians 3:11, but that no man is justified by the law or by Torah in the sight of Elohim is evident. For the just shall live by faith, right? And the law is not of faith. What? Wait a minute. But the man that doeth them shall live in them. Wait a minute. I'm confused, Paul. The law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. What is he trying to say? This is kind of strange right here. Galatians 3:11, but that no man is justified by the Torah in the sight of Elohim is evident, for the just shall live by faith. I keep saying this, I know, because I want to put something in your mind. H number 6662, the word justify, sadiq, to be just, right? To be righteous, just, lawful, righteous, right? All right. So we know in Habakkuk Chapter 2 and verse 4, it's going to tell us the same thing, because this is where Paul got it from, right? Right? So same thing he's quoting, just to put that out there. So, I mean, Paul is just not coming up with his own things. Paul always going to point you back to the commandments. Paul always going to point you back to the prophets. Paul always going to point you back to the law. You just got to understand what law he's talking about. Let's go to Hebrews now. I always got to, and if you don't understand certain things, you're not going to understand this book. I'm sorry. You could be reading this book for 50 years. You're going to miss this stuff. Just that simple. All right, what's wrong with these pages? My pages get stuck again. I use this book so much. It's one of my old reliables. Hebrews chapter 10 and 38. Let's look at this here. And then we're going to go, we're going to move around a little bit. Let me see what time it is. What else I got to get to? You know what? Actually, no. We're gonna stop right here this time. I'm sorry, y'all, but I have to right now. I gotta get ready to get out of here. Let me see. They changed my hours on me too. So, all right, we're gonna stop right here. And when we come back, we're gonna pick up right here. I'm gonna have this class back up here. I'm probably gonna put this class so it'll be up here on the Shabbat morning, part 2. So we're gonna stop right here, but we're gonna go back over this because I really don't want to rush this right here. I want to be able to actually break this down, because this is like, in our class we like to show you about Paul's writings through the scriptures. Like we're gonna give you the whole picture. So so this next class, this was kind of like an hour and a half, but the next one is gonna be 2 hours. I'm just letting you know that. But we got to get through this because I want to show you exactly what Paul is saying when he's talking about works and deeds of the law. You need to know once in good works and works, you need to know what all these things are. And we're going to get to that. So with that, I just say, I appreciate y'all. I missed y'all. Again, I mean, I'm always trying to give y'all the best information and at the same time show you how to break down some of these things that Paul is saying, because it seems to be that's a big stumbling block, Paul. But Paul never was against these commandments. Paul kept these commandments. He loved Yahuwah Elohim. He was out there doing the work. Please believe it. So, with that being said, I'm just going to do a quick prayer. Ab Yahuwah, we thank you for this time that we was able to spend with our brothers and sisters. Now, Father, we ask with all mercy, please, Father, watch over all of us. Shine your face on everyone that came up here to this class. Remember all those that's trying to keep the commandments and trying to walk in the light, and those that's seeking, Father. Send them to us or send them to somebody else that's really trying to get this thing so that they can be part of this sheepfold. One big fold, right? We thank you, Ab Yahuwah. We praise you. We always magnify your name because there is no name above your name. And we ask these things in Yahusha, HaMashiach's name, we pray to you, Almighty One. Hallelujah. All right. I'll see y'all next time. Shalom, shalom.